Man, oh man, England finally make their Euro debut. How do they look? How do they look? Honestly, I think that they were disappointing. Um, 1-0 victory over Serbia. You know, good goal by Bellingham. Hala Madrid, obviously Madrid players showing up as always. But after that, not too many chances. Not too many chances. They didn't really create too many chances. They didn't have long stretches of possession. They didn't really look dangerous going up. Only a couple other chances. Bowen, when he came in, he had a nice cross that Kane got to the end of it. Keeper made a fantastic save, pushed it towards the goalpost, and then it went out. Other than that, maybe one or two other half chances, and that's about it. Foden didn't look good. He was losing the ball. He was playing more essentially. Maybe they should try him out wide. He didn't look too comfortable. Saka was a little dangerous, but not too much end product. Kane was, in my opinion, abysmal. Which is, I mean, I understand he's a number nine. People are like, "Oh, Kane is just waiting for his penalty." Kane is just waiting for his penalty, and I mean, I get that. I see that, but as a number nine, he's an all-around player. So, for the most part, he does drop down and create. But number nine's responsibility is to be in the box, wait for crosses, be a poacher. And if your team's not creating chances, then there's not too much you could do. Could he have made better runs? Check in a little better. Yeah, probably. But I mean, that's the life of a number nine. Sometimes, if you're not getting fed, there's not much you could do. You're a number nine. You're limited to what your team can create for you. So I don't put all that blame on Kane. But I will say this. I will say Kane's lack of speed is very evident, especially on these national team games. For some reason, you could just tell. Like, you just imagine how England would look if they had a pacey striker in the top. Kane is a dog, like being a poacher and knowing where to be, and he knows how to score goals. He knows how to score goals. But every time I watch England, I'm like, damn, like right now that they're not having a lot of possession, because England concedes possession a lot sometimes. Serbia was definitely taking it to them. They were the dominant team in the second half, I would say. Like, they created a lot of chances, a lot of half chances, a lot of crosses into the box that like no one was getting to the end of it. But I was thinking, like, what would happen if right now that England's getting pushed back a little bit? How would it look if they had a pacey striker up top, ready to take the top off, ready to stretch the defense? That threat of a pacey striker on the counterattack, how would it look? Obviously, they're not going to bench Kane. He's like their captain, and he's probably the most individually decorated player right now. He's like finished close to the Ballon d'Oro, I guess, and he's had 20, 30 plus goal seasons. So he's earned his spot, but you could tell that he's a little slow. The defense is probably going to be an issue for England in the Euros if Serbia is creating these many half chances and chances against you. It might be ugly when you play like France, Germany, Spain, um, Portugal, even like it could. I don't know. Serbia created too many chances for my liking. Southgate, I think he lets his team drop back too much. You're England, you got the 1-0 lead. You're playing ahead. Like, you don't have to sit back and invite Serbia. I mean, you could, and you could go for the counterattack, but you could also just go punish them. And I think England didn't have that mentality yesterday on day three of the Euros. They didn't have the mentality to go close the game out. They had a couple chances, like I said, but for the most part, they were content with just the 1-0 lead, sitting back and seeing if anything happened. They weren't really looking for that 2-0, or maybe they were and they couldn't, which would be worse, to be honest, if they were actually trying to go get that second goal and they were just getting pushed back by Serbia. But it kind of felt like it was a tactical decision to let them come in and then try to get the counter. The only thing is that the counter wasn't fruitful, wasn't productive, it wasn't dangerous. So, to be honest, the second half, it kind of just looked like Serbia was like any minute they're gonna have a chance, or like it was dangerous. Like, if I was an English fan, I was probably sweating that second half. I was a neutral. I was at a bar with mostly English fans, but it was a, you could definitely tell that there was some tension. There was a little bit of doubt if England could hold on to that game. Pickford, I think the defense and Pickford are going to be the downfall. There was a couple balls where Pickford could have gotten to it and he just like punches it or like he pushes it out. And I'm like, bro, just pick up the ball. Not gonna lie, I think that was a penalty for Serbia in the second half. It was minimal contact, but the defender did stretch his foot out in front of him and he tumbled. And I was like, bro, like the fact that they didn't even send the ref to go look at that was kind of sketch, not gonna lie. Now, I don't want to keep bringing it back to this tournament and this team, but Argentina got penalties for less contact in the World Cup. Like the Di Maria penalty in the second half, I mean, in the World Cup final, that was like the slightest freaking grace of the foot, and he fell and they called it. This was more contact than that. Searching for a ball, searching for a cross in front of the goal. More contact, you trip him, he falls down, he's not able to get to the end of it. I don't know. I thought it was a penalty. I could see how maybe it's minimal contact, but I always just get flashbacks to the World Cup and some of the minimal, tiniest contact that Argentina was getting PKs for. And I'm like, you guys set the precedent in the grandest stage of them all. Like, so I just keep thinking about that. And if we're going by that rule book, then that was a penalty. So feel bad for Serbia. They didn't protest it too much, so we'll see. What do you guys think? Was that a penalty? I don't know. Maybe I'm just salty from Argentina as a Mexico fan because they always eliminate us from the World Cup. But overall, pretty mediocre appearance from England. I was watching it on Fox, or the bar was showing it on Fox, and Landon Donovan was like, sometimes you have these games where you get these rough stretches where the team pins you back, and it's a good exercise. It's good for England to get out of this game with a 1-0 victory if they're able to hold on. And it just felt like Donovan was talking about England as if they were one of the USA teams that Donovan was in back in the day. Like, oh, like we got to just use grit and get through the game sometimes. And it's a good exercise. I'm like, bro, this is England with Bellingham, with Foden, with Saka, with Declan Rice. Like all of these players valued over $100 million. All these players being like stars in the Premier League, the supposedly best league in the world. You got Bellingham, 20 years old, won Champions League with Real Madrid. You got Declan Rice, $100 million to Arsenal. Saka, the face of Arsenal. Foden, one of the best English prospects in a while, leading or a main cog in Manchester City, regarded as the best or the second best team in Europe. Kane, who's like one of the most prolific strikers in England's history. You got so many good players on there for you to be talking about England. Like, some games you just got to get through it. Like, especially how all the other teams looked, like Germany and Spain, like I don't buy that sentiment that sometimes you just got to get through it. I mean, it's good that they got the dub, but I would have liked to see more from England.